Hi, this is Alfozia Nihar from At Home Tuition. Welcome to our session today. In today's video, let us discuss operations on fraction. This is the second video under the topic operations on integers. Fractions. Fractions are playing prominent role in our daily life. We all should definitely know how to perform operations with fraction. Under fractions, we can define the three types of fractions like this. First one is proper fraction, improper fraction, and mixed fraction. Proper fractions means the numerator should be less than the denominator. For example, this is how any proper fraction would look like. Okay, now let us see what is an improper fraction. Numerator is greater than or equal to the denominator. Then the fraction is said to be an improper fraction. For example, you can write. Hope you understand the difference between improper fraction and proper fraction. Now let us see what is called mixed fraction. A whole number along with a proper fraction is said to be a mixed fraction. Okay, let me write some examples on that too. Okay, I'd like to take examples to explain operations on fraction on both proper and improper fraction. Okay, let us start with addition. Before going into an example, let me write the rule to add the fractions with same denominator on the board. Hope you see the rule on the board. Please have a glance over that. Then we can move on to the example. You will understand this concept while we do few examples. I'd like to tell you one thing here. We can only add the fractions with same denominator. We cannot add any fraction with different denominator. Okay, let me show the example step by step. Here is your example. 12 over 15 minus 3 over 15. We have two fractions here, 12 over 15 and 3 over 15. Please note that the denominators are same, so we can add these two fractions. Keep the denominator common. Just add the numbers on the top row. We would get 15 on the top row and 15 in the denominator. 15 over 15 is equal to 1. Hope you're clear with this example. Let me show you one more example. Again, the denominators are same. So keep it common and add the numbers in the numerator. Okay. Now we have to reduce the answer further. The common factor between 8 and 10 is 2. So there are 4 2's in the 8 and 5 times 2 is 10. If possible, you can reduce the answer further. But there is no common factor between 4 and 5 here. So we can just leave it. This should be the last answer. You should give your answer in reduced form only, or else your answer would be considered as an incomplete one. So make sure that you reduce to the lowest term. Now we can discuss few examples on fractions with different, that is unlike denominator. We know that we can only add the fractions with same denominators. What to do if we need to add fractions with different denominators? Let me tell you. These are the two methods we can use to add the fractions with different denominators. First one is cross multiplication method. That one is easier. And second one is LCM method. This one will help you solving any type of problem. You need not worry about the difficulty level. How large, no problem about the number. Now we can go to example. Please look at the example. We have two fractions. And please look at the denominators. The denominators are not same. So we have to make them same. Since the denominators are different, we have to rewrite the fraction so that they both will have the same denominator. So therefore we must find the least common denominator for 1 over 2 and 1 over 6. To find the least common denominator, we must find the least common multiples for the denominators 2 and 6. Let me list out the multiples on the board. Please look at the board. These are the multiples of 2. Same way, let me list out the multiples of 6. Do you find any common number between the multiples of 2 and 6? Yes, 12. So the least common multiple of the denominators 2 and 6 is 12. We are going to make the denominators equal to 12. Using this least common denominator, we are going to write an equivalent fraction for 1 over 2. That is with, I think, the least common multiple is 6, right? So we no need to write an equivalent fraction for 1 over 6 because 6 is the denominator for this fraction. Okay, let me rewrite it by multiplying. 2 times what will give you 6? Yes, 3. Please look at the board. Multiply the first fraction, both the numerator and denominator by 3. Whatever operation you are doing with the denominator, you have to do the same even with the numerator. Only then you will get an equivalent fraction. Perform the operations. Now the denominators are same. So you can keep the denominator common and add the numbers in top row. So you will get 4 over 6. We have to simplify the sum if possible. 4 over 6 can be simplified. You can reduce the fraction by 2. So 2 goes 2 times in 4 and 2 goes 3 times in 6. We cannot reduce the fraction 2 over 3 further. This is the lowest term. So this is our final answer for this example. Now let us have a glance over the steps for adding the fractions with unlike denominator. Multiply first fraction by any number both top and bottom. So you will get an equivalent fraction and the denominators will be same. And keep the denominator common and add the numbers in numerator. And please make sure that you reduce the answer to the simplest lowest term. That's it for this example. Now let me show you the same question in the other way, cross multiplication method. Take the question. Multiply the first fraction by 6. 6 is nothing but the second denominator. Multiply the second fraction both top and bottom by 2. 2 is nothing but the first denominator. Perform the multiplication. 6, 2 times 6 is 12. 1 times 2 is 2 and 12. Do you see we got the same denominator even by cross multiplication? Since the denominators are same, we can perform addition. So keep the denominator common, add the numbers in the top row. So on the top row you will get 8. Now we can reduce the fraction. The common factor between 8 and 12 is 4. 4 goes 2 times in 8 and 3 times in 12. Did you notice that we get the same answer even by both the methods, cross multiplication method and least common multiple method? You can follow the method that you feel more confident. In case if you have any question finding LCM, please let me know so I can do a video on that for you. Let me show one example on adding 3 fractions. Do you see the question on the board? I hope you noticed that all the denominators are different. You can solve this fraction by both the methods. Now let me show you how to find the least common denominator for all the 3 fractions. In case if you are multiplying by cross multiplication, you have to multiply the first fraction by the denominators of second one and third fraction and multiply the middle fraction by the denominators of first and third. Okay, I'll show you next. First let us do least common denominator method. As usual, to find the least common denominator, I am going to list out the multiples of each denominator on the board. These are the multiples of 8. Now let me list out multiples of 5. Same way, let me list out the multiples of 10. From the 3 list, we can find the least common number. Least common number here is 40. Am I right? So 40 is the least common denominator for 5 over 8, 4 over 5 and 7 over 10. So let us move on to the next step. Now let us write equivalent fractions for all the 3 fractions. This is our question. 8 times 5 will give you 40. So I am going to multiply the first fraction by 5. 10 times 40 will give you 10 times 4 will give you 40. So I am going to multiply the third fraction by 4. Now let's perform multiplication. 4 times 8 will give you 32. 7 times 4 will give you 28. Now the denominators are same, so we can add the 3 equivalent fractions. Keeping the denominator same, add all the terms in numerator. Adding the numerator, we will get 85. It's time to reduce the fraction. Common factor between 85 and 40 is 5. So divide 85 by 5. We will get 5 times 17 will give you 85. And the denominator will be 8. I don't think there is a common factor between 17 and 8. So this is the final answer for this one. Okay, now let me show you how to do cross multiplication with this same question. Multiply the first fraction by denominators of other 2 fractions. I'll choose some different color. Multiply by 5. Multiply by 10. Same way, multiply the middle fraction by the denominators of other 2 fractions. Multiply the third fraction by denominators of first 2 fractions. I'd like to remind you, whatever operation you're doing with the denominator, you have to perform the same with the numerator too. Now let's perform multiplication. Now for the second one. Can you follow so far? Now the denominators are same. So keep the denominator common and add all the numerator. So we will get 850 in the top row and 400 in the bottom. Now we can reduce it. I think the common factor between these two is 50. So 50 goes 17 times in 850 and 8 times in 400. Did you notice that we have got the same answer by both the methods? Okay. I suggest you to use least common multiple method for adding the fractions, because when you get larger numbers and when the number of fractions are more, it may be somewhat difficult to use this cross multiplication method. There are chances for making more mistakes in this type. So it is always advisable to use the least common multiple method. Before ending the video, I'd like to give you the flow chart, a quick revision on adding fractions. Please go through this so you'll get a good idea on adding fraction. Hope you're clear with all the examples we discussed in this topic, adding fractions. Here are the answers for do-it-yourself questions that I gave you in my previous video. Hope you're clear with this session. See you soon in the next video. In next video,